I was diagnosed with MS 8 years ago. And it was a really profound opening, mind opening as to where I was heading in my life, and there wasn't a lot of answers. MS is one of those things where it's like being on a railroad track and you know a train's coming, but you don't know when that train is coming. And no one gives you answers, no one knows anything. So I needed to take it upon myself to step outside the box and figure something else out. And I was fortunate enough to have a support system that taught me a lot, and I wouldn't be standing here today, quite literally. I was losing my ability to walk. I was losing my ability to have any sense of energy in my life. So I took extreme measure one day after seeing this crazy documentary on Netflix. And it was about this tribe in the Amazon. And before I knew it, my partner and I had booked a flight, and we were heading up this boat 1 hour up into the Amazon River and another hour trek into the jungle. And there we met the Shipibo tribe. And it was kind of like realizing that I'm on a different planet. And I didn't know what the heck I had jumped into and what I had gotten myself into. And at first, I just wanted to head on that boat and get on back. I'm like, wow, what did I sign myself up for? But I went ahead and I did it anyway. And I was a little bit fearful because I realized that what this tribe was all about was they were about to give me this medicine called ayahuasca. And ayahuasca, its main chemical in this plant, I guess you say, is DMT, which is known as the spirit molecule. It's also, for the ayahuasca and the Shipibo, it's also known as the vine of the soul or the vine of the dead. And I was about to experience this. Not for the faint of heart. So I talked to a facilitator. He said, do you know meditation? I said, yes. He said, okay, well, if you know how to meditate, then this will help with your experience. So my first night into ceremony, you could tell just the ancient vibe of what was about to happen. They had given me a special space where I was in this maloka, and there were no windows. There were just like fly meshing, and the Shipibo would come in and give blessing to this drink. And this drink is this boiled down drink, 2 plants, one with active DMT and the other was MAOI inhibitor. And so it's a means for your body to be able to digest and experience this plant. Now there's thousands of plants in the Amazon, and the way they figured this out is a miracle. And they contributed to the fact that they had worked with tobacco and drank tobacco, and somehow through those experiences, it led them to this understanding. So I went and I drank this jungle juice, as they say, and I went back and I sat down, and my space, it had a place if I needed to throw up, wonderful, and some toilet paper, okay, and I had a nice blanket, and it was really conducive for a very safe space. So I started to go into my meditation. I let everything within me just to pass by through me. And all of a sudden, I feel like as if I'm watching this theater, and everything, the curtains were to break open. And all of a sudden, my third eye, as they call it, just starts to create this 3-dimensional or 5th-dimensional space. And I felt like as if the stream of energy, as if you were like in a stream of water, was pushing up against my back, and I could feel every atom of my body becoming lighter and lighter, and I was just becoming like this very light feather. And it was the most peaceful experience I've ever had. It was the most brilliant experience until finally I just realized there was something very, very different about what was going on. And I turned around. I realized I didn't have a body. And I was 8 feet above my body, and that's where all fear broke loose. Now, I'd gone down with my partner. My partner was on the other side of the dark Maloka, and everything's going through my head. Oh my God, I just killed her. I just joined some crazy cult. I made the worst mistake of my life. What the heck did I do? And this fear became me. I was moving as if I was falling down this stream, down this boat, and I didn't know how to get back. And so this fear became me until I broke into about 1 million pieces and ended up back on the floor of the Maloka. There I experienced the shaman coming around and singing their songs. And I was writhing in pain. I was writhing in fear, and I just wanted it all to stop. I spent 4 hours in sheer hell trying to hold myself in composure while this fifth dimensional spiritual experience was happening. And by the time I was done, I felt like a puddle on the ground. Now, there were other people that were there with me. And one person in particular, he had been there a few times. So I went straight to him and I asked him what the heck was going on here and why he had come back. And his answer to me was, you made it about 8 feet above your body where I was gliding through the universe. That's where it clicked. And I realized at that moment that I had essentially changed what was going on. If I would have allowed myself merely to let go and surrender to the flow, maybe something would have changed. So the next step in, I had taken me a lot of courage because I literally felt like I went to the ring with Mike Tyson. I went in again. And this time I said, no matter what happens, I'm letting go. And in that moment, that's where everything started to transform and the healing started to happen. And I felt like as if my entire mind, my entire soul, my body was this Rubik's Cube, and this higher state of intelligence was slowly putting me back together in this beautiful form, and my energetic fields were starting to come into alignment. I started to realize that my metabolism had increased just a little bit, and inside my body, there were dams or blockages within myself. And it was like as if I was scanning my body, and these pieces were just psychosomatic connections of past traumas. And the second I could feel these and realize what these were, it was like this miracle, as if I was like this higher state of myself looking back at previous traumas and saying, Brian, you know what? It's okay. You can let this go. And so all of that sludge, all of these blockages then started to compile into my center, into my heart center. And eventually I was able to say, okay, now it's time to let go. And just like a snake would shed its skin, I threw up and everything else came out with it. And in that night, I experienced what I could only experience was like 100 years of therapy all at once. It was the most brilliant experience of my life. And it didn't stop there. I had I'd gone back to Toronto after doing a few more ceremonies, sold everything I had, got a job back down in that space, and I stayed there for another half a year working with the people. And in one ceremony in particular, I had this one experience where I was about to die. Something came over top of me and it says, you're about to die. And I knew right then and there, I could not say no to it because I was going to get back into the ring with Mike Tyson. So I said, amen, let's see where this goes. And everything all at once just came down and compressed into a single ball of light. And then it came back. And I didn't realize what happened until the next day, where my mind, my spirit, my body, everything was calm. My inner voice calm, as if the morning where you see a lake and there's not a ripple on the water. And this stayed with me until I eventually ended up moving back here, and I started to surround myself by people who had strong pain bodies, and they didn't realize that they even had these around them. And I had this new sixth sense of dimension about myself that contributed to like some deep intuition. But with time, my mind started to come back. My inner voice started to come back. And I didn't like that. It felt like there was a monkey in the room again. So I turned back to meditation. And meditation brought me back to the baseline. And with that came back my intuition. And so one thing that I wanted to share with you guys tonight is there are many ways to get to different places in our lives. And I've always known that meditation was an extremely powerful thing. And I've come to teach it today. And I want to share with you that healing comes from the base. It comes from the dis-ease. It comes from not being able to properly metabolize things in our past. And if we can learn the proper tools to break through and find a healthy medium to conquer the things that we've conquered, to take vulnerability as a strength. A lot of guys, they grow up and they're like, push through. We don't actually go deep. We don't actually sink into ourselves. And if we learn to do that, if we learn those tools, we will become more healthy, we'll become more intuitive, and we'll have a more better peace of mind. And so thank you for sharing this, or letting me share this with you, and God bless.